What is going on, Summoners? We're back here today with another Champion Deep Dive. Today, we're talking about Spider-Punk. So, sit back and relax, because it's time to get into it. Spider-Punk enters the contest with an annihilated body and mind, granting him immunity to concussion debuffs and rupture effects. He also hates labels, so he gains increased attack rating for each tag on himself and the opponent. Spider-Punk will rupture his opponent's ears off. Unless otherwise stated, his personal rupture debuffs last for 14 seconds and max out at 8 stacks. But sit tight, we'll get to those later. Now, when performing a well-timed block against basic attacks, he has a 100% chance to evade, inflicting a stun passive for 3 seconds. This is removed when the opponent is struck twice, and goes on cooldown for 16 seconds. While this cooldown is active, each time he would be struck by a light or medium attack while dashing forward, he has a 100% chance to evade the hit, inflicting a stun passive for 2 seconds. But be careful, while defending, this ability is always active. Also, when Spider-Punk intercepts the opponent, he inflicts a physical vulnerability debuff for 15 seconds, maxing out at 2 stacks. And each time he does, his evade cooldown is shortened by 6 seconds. On the first hit of his heavy attack, he refreshes all personal physical vulnerability debuffs on the opponent. The final hit inflicts a taunt debuff for 2 seconds, and grants the opponent 0 power if above 1 bar. Now, Spider-Punk gathers a crowd wherever he goes. As a defender, or while fighting in battlegrounds, he starts with 150. Otherwise, he starts with 0. But when defeating an opponent, half of the crowd stays for his next match. However, if he's defeated, they all leave. And when either champion dodges or punishes a special attack, he gains 10 crowd members for each bar of power spent. When he triggers his evade on a well-timed block, he gains 30. But each time he's knocked down, he loses 15. The crowd hypes the amp up to 11, increasing the potency of personal ruptures based on the size of the crowd. And once it reaches 200, he gains an unstoppable passive when activating a special attack, lasting for 3 seconds after the attack. Now, let's check out his special attacks. On activation of his special 1, he removes all personal ruptures on the opponent, and for each rupture removed, each hit inflicts an instant rupture, dealing a burst of physical damage, scaling with the remaining time left on the ruptures. With the Special 2, the final 3 hits are guitar strum attacks that inflict a rupture debuff. These can be inflicted through blocks that are not well timed. As an attacker, 3 chords are generated, and swiping up or down while the chords are active amplifies the hit, bringing in 10 crowd members. And if all hits are amplified, he inflicts an additional rupture. The Special 3. At the end of this attack, he inflicts 3 rupture debuffs. And once per fight, the duration of his ruptures are permanently increased by 25%. Also, a perfect result during the Special 3 minigame brings 150 crowd members to the fight, but only 100 if the minigame is failed. Now, let's check out his signature ability. When awakened, each time the opponent finishes a special attack, he inflicts an encore passive for the corresponding special. While active, the opponent is 70% more likely to throw the same special attack. This maxes out at 3 stacks, and is removed if the opponent performs a different special. Additionally, for each encore active, the opponent's attack rating during special attacks is reduced by up to 24%. And inflicting an Encore passive while an Encore is already active has up to a 100% chance to inflict a Rupture debuff. Now, let's see those chords in action in the champion rotation. To begin, parry the opponent to trigger your evade and start building your crowd. You could intercept the opponent to shorten your cooldown and stack physical vulnerability. Bait the opponent's specials to begin building your Encore passives to stack ruptures and gather a larger crowd. Now, Spider-Punk will evade when struck by a basic attack while dashing when his evade is on cooldown, so don't be afraid to take a risk. From here, keep this cycle going as you build to just under 3 bars of power. And keep in mind, if the opponent has projectile specials, you'll build that crowd much quicker. Now that you're all set up, launch your special 2 to stack ruptures and strum up or down to stack on even more. And then, follow it up with a special 1 to remove your ruptures and deal instant rupture burst damage on every hit. One thing to note, when fighting in battlegrounds, you'll start with a crowd of 150. Making it much easier to build to a satisfying special 2 with maximum rupture potency. And hey, in a longer fight, you could follow this same loop while building up to your special 3, and launch to crank the amp up to 11 and increase the duration of your rupture effects by 25%. Then, use those Encore passives to stack on a larger amount of ruptures and juice up that special 1 burst even further. And since he did such a good job, half the crowd will follow Spider-Punk to his next match. Just make sure you keep the ball rolling. Thank you for watching this Champion Deep Dive for Spider-Punk. And hey, if you liked the video and want to see more, click subscribe, like, comment, and share. And remember, we'll see you in the battle round.